everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Emily. I'm a mom who loves home decor, thrifting, and a good DIY project. Today, I'm really excited. We are doing a thrift flip, and the whole idea of this thrift flip is that I wanted to DIY 3 or 4 thrift store vases, vessels, whatever you want to call it. One of them is actually a cookie jar. I wanted to DIY these thrifted vessels in 3 different ways. These are all trends. I think I've done all of these except one. They are different methods and ways you can kind of transform a thrifted, not always very cute vase into something that looks kind of old or antique or even like pottery, just giving it new life. So that is what we're going to do today. But before we jump into things, if you're not already, feel free to follow me on Instagram at EmilyFaith22. Before we get into this DIY, I want to thank today's sponsor, that is Care of, for collaborating with me on this video. Care of is a monthly vitamin subscription. You guys can actually go online and take this in-depth quiz, and it will recommend for you the right vitamins based on your diet, health, and lifestyle goals. And all of their vitamins are made with high quality, good for you ingredients that are backed by science. 2 of the areas I focused on in my quiz were digestion and energy needs. Let me show you guys the packaging and the vitamins that Care of ended up recommending to me and what I got. So it comes in this super cute box, and it's like a little dispenser. So each day you can just pull out your package of vitamins. So all I have to do is grab one of these every morning. They always have a little quote on them, and they are personalized. Care of makes it like a really fun experience. Another great thing is that all of these individual packets are compostable. This little card says all my info on it, so it tells me each of my vitamins I got. So I got calcium for bone health, I got B complex for energy support, a probiotic for gut and immune health, and my gut check for digestive health. I also got these cute little packets for my gut health. I'm so excited every time I get to have one of these because they taste like candy. Visit the link in the description box to take your quiz, find out what's right for you, and you can use code EmilyFaith to get 50% off your first order. Thanks again, Care of, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, let's get started with this first DIY. For this first vase, I found, you guys actually might remember me getting this in my last thrift video, this super cute sort of pitcher vase. I definitely had the idea of using it for a vase, but I didn't necessarily love this brown and orange detail. I felt like it was a little bit dated, and I just wanted to, you know, switch it up. For this first DIY method, we are going to do the good old trash to terracotta trend. I love this. I see this everywhere. It's been going on for a long time now. I have my own video where I did a bunch of vases with just this method. If you guys are new to the trash to terracotta, you use baking powder. I know I see a lot of YouTubers and DIYers using baking soda for this. I did go and check the girl who originally invented this DIY, what she uses, and she does use baking powder. I know she has used baking soda, but I think you get a slightly different technique when you use baking soda than when you use baking powder. So anyways, you guys could try out baking soda or baking powder, but I do know that originally for the trash to terracotta, she uses baking powder. What you do, I didn't even look up her exact measurements, but basically you're gonna use some baking powder. I used probably close to a tablespoon, maybe a little less. Mix in a whole bunch of paint to your desired color. I tried to go with something creamy, off-white. Just mix it together. It will get, like, as it sits, the texture does kind of change, and it'll get a little bit chunky, almost frosting-like. So if it gets a little too thick, you definitely can add more paint to it. With this project, I do recommend 2 things. 1, let it dry completely between coats. I always brush this project, and when I'm brushing on a second coat, it starts to peel away the first layer of paint, which is kind of frustrating. Here's to rushing your DIYs when you got things to do, but try to let it dry between coats fully, and then you really shouldn't have any issues. And I did do 2 coats to completely cover this thing. And also, as I'm painting it, I think you can really play around with your brush strokes in different directions. It will look a little bit more organic, really like the homemade pottery. Are you guys ready to see how it turned out? Here it is. Method, we are going to be using some spray paint and some dirt. You guys have seen me do this one a handful of times. It's my favorite method. This time I wanted to do it in white and I actually didn't have black. I've always done white or black, but I decided to do, my dishwasher is running. Sorry. It's like right over there and it's a little loud, so I'm sorry if you're hearing some water noises. It's my dishwasher. Anyways, I wanted to do this DIY kind of two different ways. I want to show you guys what it looks like when you use white spray paint and when you use a darker spray paint. Usually I go with matte black, but I actually didn't have matte black on hand, and since I've done that before, I can insert a photo of one of those that I've done before. I had this kind of matte gray, so I thought that could definitely work out, similar vibe. So we did a matte gray and a white spray paint. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me show you guys the vases that I got. This really, really cute handled vase with this little floral detail. Wasn't really my style, but the shape of this vase had me swooning. I absolutely love it. Then I grabbed this cookie jar. I actually love using cookie jars for this project. I feel like they kind of give a bit of that vessel feel, so make sure you check out cookie jars. I obviously don't use the lids in the project, but just remove the lid. The cookie jars are usually a really great shape, so we're using this cookie jar. I took them outside. I gave them a coat of spray paint, 1 or 2 coats until they are fully covered, or as many coats as you need. I was running out of white spray paint, but I made it work. Once your spray paint is fully dry, what you're going to do is get some water, some dirt, and you're gonna make some mud. Really easy. Usually I'll like mix mud in a cup, but this time I just poured the water right on the dirt. At first I tried to go in with a brush and brush it on all fancy, but it just doesn't work as good. I gotta get my hands in there. I need to get some gloves. I don't know why I don't have gloves. My boys like to help me. As I'm putting it on, I'm really looking for the type of mud that almost can be like painted on. So you guys might have to play around with like the mud. I've seen this method done different ways, and I've done it different ways where sometimes you take the mud and you like pack it on and let it dry covered in like thick mud, and then you wipe it off. But lately I've been doing where I try to make the dirt almost like a paste, like a paint. You can like paint with the dirt. So that's kind of what I've done for both of these. Took a little bit to find the right dirt texture. That's so weird, but if you guys play around with it, I think you would like understand what I'm saying. Are you guys ready to see how this dirt trick turned out? Here it is. Final thrift flip. This one, we're gonna go on a journey. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. This project felt like a little bit of a flop, but I tried to save it. But if I would have done one simple thing, it wouldn't have been a flop. So I wanted to put it in here because I can easily tell you guys what you need to do to not have it be a flop. I found this kind of really gross, bigger pot, and it's like a foam material. I don't know what it is. It's cheap. It was a cheap, not nice pot. I got it at the thrift store. I got from my craft store, or you can probably find it at your hardware store or something, this concrete spray paint. They had it in 2 colors. They had it in the color I got, which kind of had more of like pinky terracotta vibes, and they also did have a gray, like true concrete color. So whatever you're feeling, you can grab I had never used this product before. I really didn't know what to expect. I just went in not knowing. That's usually how I DIY, and I just started spray painting, and it definitely comes out in kind of bursts of, looks almost like it's just like shooting little rock pellets onto this pot. And I quickly realized I was gonna have to do a lot of layers. So this is where I went wrong. What I should have done, which if you do this DIY, do this. Make sure ahead of time you prime your pot or vase or whatever you're using to do this technique in a similar color to either the concrete, like the gray concrete, or this like pinky terracotta color. So what I should have done is just painted it something closer to like creamy white. And then I should have spray painted it with the concrete spray paint. Because what ended up happening was I was really trying to cover up this sort of purpley maroon pot sticking through, but the way this spray paint is, it just wouldn't cover fully, and I ended up using the entire can and it never got covered. But it created so much texture and was the whole look and the vibe that I was going for, and I felt so disappointed that underneath all this like maroon color was showing through. Yes, I could have gone back to the store and got another can, but these cans aren't like crazy cheap. The point was to do this on a budget. I didn't want to have to spend a whole other can of spray paint. So here's how it looked after I was done spray painting it. It's really not bad. That's why I think this DIY actually is so cool. It would really work. Just prime ahead of time. And this technique will be so awesome. You'll get that concrete look that you want. Anyways, I feel like that's kind of part one to this DIY. That was my original plan. The third method was really this concrete spray paint. I wanted to save it. I still wanted to be able to use this in my house. So I decided to kind of just revamp it, have a new plan, and do the dirt trick to it. So I took it inside, I gave it a coat of paint. My paint actually, I kind of picked like this pink color, and I was pleasantly surprised that because I added all this texture, as I was painting, all the texture still showed through. It just didn't have that color variation which the spray paint brought, which was super cool. Then I took it outside and I really covered this thing in mud, and the mud with the textured vase really sticks. You'll see on the smooth vases I used, it doesn't stick as much, but when you use something textured, the mud really sticks on, and it really changed the entire look of this pot. So are you guys ready to see how this thing turned out? I'm using it with my olive tree. Here it is. Enjoyed today's vase thrift flip. I loved trying out these different methods. I hope it inspires you to go to the thrift store and maybe give a pot or a vase new life in your home. Thanks again, Kara, for sponsoring today's video. Don't forget to check out the description box, take that quiz, and use code EmilyFaith to get 50% off your first order. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. As always, you can subscribe. For more of my everyday life, follow me on Instagram at EmilyFaith22. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.